If you want the mission statement for this White House, Pete Hegseth just handed it to you.
Maximum lethality, not tepid legality.
That's a roadmap, my friends. And from the president who said he was going to bring peace, remember? And yes, words matter. Pete literally just said it.
It's about restoring. Words matter.
So let's talk about the words they're restoring and why they were retired in the first place. We used to have a Department of War, since 1789 actually. But after World War II, Congress reorganized everything. In 1947, they created the National Military Establishment. And in 1949, they renamed it the Department of Defense and centralized civilian control under a SecDef. That wasn't cosmetic. It was a post-war signal. America leads and rules based on order and prefers deterrence to conquest. Defense implies that we hit back, we deter, we work through alliances. War says that we start the fight and we figure out the paperwork later. Which brings us back to Pete's line. Tepid legality is doing a lot of work there because the legality that he's dismissing is literally the law of war and the UN Charter prohibition on using force except in self-defense or with Security Council approval. That's not a vibe. That's the rule book.
We're going to go on offense, not just on defense. Maximum lethality, not tepid legality. Violent effect, not politically correct.
That, my friends, sadly, will become doctrine. And the administration is backing it with an executive order to resurrect the Department of War branding while allies in Congress float bills to make it official. Even the Pentagon is groaning about the cost and chaos of rewriting seals, signage, and policy docs worldwide. Maximum lethality also sounds like an energy drink you buy at a gas station at 2 a.m. Great for vibes, terrible for long-term health. Tepid legality, that's literally just legality. If the temperature of your law is boiling, you're not following the law correctly. When you change defense back to war, you're not just swapping stationary, you're resetting expectations. Fewer guardrails, broader authorities, faster triggers, and a public primed to accept it. Because hey, we said war, right on the label. Pete spelled it out. Restore the warrior ethos. Fight decisively and prioritize effect over process.
Restoring the warrior ethos.
So yes, words matter. After 1949, the word was defense because the world decided war should be rare, justified, and legal. If war is back on the door, watch what follows. Budgets, authorities, offense-first postures, and a whole lot of efforts to make legality feel optional. This little Department of War rebrand could cost the American taxpayer billions of dollars, and the Pentagon is pissed about it. They're gonna have to change the Department of Defense seal on 700,000 facilities worldwide. Every base, depot, office, letterhead, podium, they all have to be rebranded with the Department of War seal. It looks something like this on 700,000 facilities, and some of these facilities have dozens of these plaques all over the place. That's millions of these that have to be changed out. And that's not even counting letterhead, websites, all of those little things, t-shirts. We're talking billions of dollars, years of work, probably thousands of people working on this. I can almost guarantee that this is something that these two were not thinking about, didn't even consider when they were signing this little piece of paper, renaming the Department of Defense. I don't know, you guys let me know in the comments. With the job market tanking, with the dollar tanking, with the deficit exploding, do you guys think it's a good time to be spending billions of dollars to rename the Department of Defense? Or is this just a massive waste of money and time?
And he's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms. It's detestable to him. He and I have spoken about this as recently as 24 hours ago.
So you don't understand. Trump was an FBI informant. He was part of the Epstein network because he was informing on him. He was literally like raping girls because it's part of his undercover character, okay? Like, kind of like how Keanu Reeves learned how to surf to get Patrick Swayze and all those other surfer gang guys. That was Donald Trump with child rape. It was, you know, it was all part of the plan.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. We cut through the right-wing noise and exposes real threat to the democracy. So tonight we are talking about dumpster fire, that is Donald Trump president. Elon Musk out of White House dinner. Speaker Mike Johnson spilling the truth about Trump's Epstein ties and a botched spy mission in North Korea. Approval rating is at free for Donald Trump, and Maduro is calling out a nuclear hypocrisy and the Trump absurd plan to rename the Pentagon the Department of War. This isn't just a competence, it's a corruption, it's a warmongering, it's an ego putting lives at risk. Stick with me, I'll break it down with facts. And if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. Let's fight back together. Dinner was held and there were all the tech billionaires around. And who the tech billionaire was missing? So first up, Elon Musk. Remember the bromance? Musk funneled millions into Trump's campaign. Trump even gave him a shiny government gig. Well, it's over. So Trump held a private white dinner with Zuckerberg, Gates, Cook, Altman, but Musk? Nowhere. And you may ask yourself, where did the bromance go, or when things hit the fan? So officially, a scheduling conflict, a reality payback. So Musk trashed Trump's so-called big beautiful bill, called it idiotic, even hinted at Trump's Epstein's connection. Now Trump freezes him out. His team is even looking at cutting Musk government contract, and he has said it before. Bottom line, with the Trump, loyalty only runs one way. So Musk was a babe. Musk was a friend when he was in government, but when Musk decided to criticize Donald Trump, what happens? The guy is thrown out. So it's like, yeah, as it say, this bromance or the loyalty of Trump just runs one way. Now let's talk about the Epstein, a controversial talk that has been happening throughout last month.
Hey, it's Joe from Georgia. How much more fantasy can the White House and MAGA Republicans come up with about the Epstein files? So Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, is now saying that Donald Trump was an informant for the FBI to investigate Jeffrey Epstein. And the president says, yes, it needs to all come to an end because it's all done. Doesn't need to be anything else. Well, there's 100,000 pages that haven't been released publicly. But you've got the Speaker of the House now saying that Donald Trump was an informant for the FBI. Now, if I'm an informant for something, should I be battling so hard to not release files that I was the one who actually helped get this person indicted? So I was the good guy, but I don't want anybody to see me in those files because I'm the good guy? Now, who believes that's true? But folks, this is what happened today. They're saying Donald Trump was a FBI informant. That's where the Epstein files came from.
Well, Speaker Mike Johnson claimed Trump was an FBI informant who helped take down Epstein. Sounds heroic, right? Except the receipt tells a different story. Trump is in Epstein files. He parted with him for years. And let's not forget that creepy birthday card from 2003 that actually New York or Wall Street exposes. So now Trump calls it a democratic hoax. Meanwhile, his DOJ blocked full file release. Victims are furious. So if Trump really cared, he'd open the file. Instead, it's all a smoke and mirrors. To protect himself and his billionaires buddies. We all know that what Mike Johnson is saying, that he was an FBI informant there. You know, Trump has been denying all this like a hoax. You know, he's saying Democrat hoax. You know, it's showing how these people don't align, you know, their house affairs in order. Because this one saying hoax, a hoax is something that is made up, you know. But, so if these things were made up, why was Trump an informant or an FBI informant at that case? Please tell me, because I think there's something we are not getting it, right? Or is there a hidden agenda about all of this? There was an expose by Fox or Reuters about the botched North Korea disaster, or on the foreign policy, or should I say foreign policy disaster. So a New York Times bombshell revealed this. In 2019, Trump approved a SEAL Team 6 mission to bag Kim Jong-un's communication. It failed spectacularly. So the SEAL killed an armed fisherman thinking they were guards. No bags were planted. Bodies were dumped in the ocean. Mission aborted. And what is Trump saying about all of this? Because people, there was very good expose. So Trump is saying he doesn't know anything about it. You know, even I think the MAGA will say it was Biden, because they tend to blame everything on Biden. So the classic Trump order chaos, then play dumb. That mission violated international law, risking war and accomplishing nothing. This is what Trump calls strength. And if you think things are not getting even much worse, the polls are plummeting. Americans are not approving Trump's, Trump's performance, and the American people, I think they have had enough. So Trump's approval rating is down to 37 from 40%. Net disapproval minus 14. Is underwater on the economy, inflation, foreign policy, even immigration. And you can see, what the last month jobs, creation. It was as a disaster.
Make no mistake, this is a weak jobs report, and I can't help but think it would be helpful if we got a lot of this trade-related uncertainty out of the way.
So independents, only 37 approve. Even young Republicans are peeling away. So Gallup says it's the worst start for any modern president. Why? Because chaos don't pay the bill. So I'll attach these the polls, and you guys leave a comment down below. Tell us what you think about this. Then there's an international word. There's been an international. So internationally, Trump is poking hornet's nest. So Venezuela, Maduro accused him of breaking the nuclear-free treaty in Latin America by sending a nuclear-powered sub into the Caribbean. So Trump slapped a $50 million bounty on Maduro, sent warships and marines. So Maduro's response, he mobilizes troops, one that Americans pushing towards collapse. This isn't even about drugs. It's regime change, athletics, and it's reckless. So we all know Trump has been, Trump's administration has been pushing, the agenda everywhere. So Trump, wants him to actually, Trump's one, when each country or every country, had or come across the word America, I think they should kneel down, in their toes. So that is Trump for you. And Venezuela are not having it. Venezuela think that this man is is so demented that he's not thinking at all. I was about to say he's thinking like a child, but he's not thinking at all. So I've seen MAGAs complain that these legal aliens are eating their money. They are spending. The healthcare system is treating these illegal aliens with their tax dollars. Now, let me tell you how it even costly for what Trump is doing right now. So I want MAGA to tell me, what do you think those the money that is feeding these guys breakfast, lunch, and dinner, the money that's paying those policemen, these federal policemen guarding those detention facilities, where is that money coming from? A huge sum of money was pumped into ICE. That is your taxpayer money. And if you think this administration has not yet done with whatever spending, with using the money anyhow, here comes the Department of War.
So the president of peace, the guy who wants to rename the Department of Defense to the Department of War so we can strike a more aggressive tone and intimidate the nuclear superpowers around the world, and who's in the process of invading, sometimes illegally, multiple American cities with our own military, just screamed on the internet, Chicago is the unaliving capital of the world, because he wants to invade Chicago like he illegally invaded Los Angeles and like he invaded DC. In fact, he said DC was so violent he had to bring in National Guard troops from 6 Republican states. And that's the same premise he's using as he threatens to invade Chicago. But before he invades anyone else, let's be fair and compare the violent crime rates in Chicago and DC to the cities from those red states. The ones who voluntarily chose to take members of the National Guard out of their homes, out of their careers, and send them to invade an American city. So first, the violent crime rate in Washington, DC in 2024 was 926 incidents per 100,000 people.
Even it sounds ridiculous. Imagine calling yourself the Secretary of War. It just proves that, America is not trying to defend anything. It's causing war. It's causing, war on other countries. Right? It's causing war on other countries, but not defending any sovereignty law of defending the country against anything. And it's so absurd, or the absurd cherry on the top. So Trump's, renamed the Department of Defense, the Department of War. He says it projects threat. Now, critics call this what it is, a childish and dangerous decision. And they cost billions. When you guys are crying, the aliens, the illegal aliens are eating your money. Billions are being spent on just something silly. And the goal? To build his own warrior fantasy state, while veterans' struggles and recruitment plummet. So why will you pump billion in thing who's maybe people that's not, your ego? Because tell me, how many veterans are suffering there? How many veterans that have actually been in this Department of War or Department of Defense, they have fought for America. These guys are homeless. These guys cannot afford the basic medical bills. Because he just want to feed his, the fantasy, to sell, what we call fear. So this, it's not defense. It is a fascist cosplay. And it's deadly serious. Yeah, it's deadly serious. So tell me what you think about this video. Please put put down in the comment section. If you're here up to now, please leave that a like. And so here's the picture. Trump and Musk as corrupt, chaotic, and dangerous person. From billionaires drama to Epstein cover-ups, from botched spy missions to tanking polls, from nuclear hypocrisy to renaming the Pentagon. This is not strength, it's weakness. It's reckless, it's childishness, and it's a threat to us all. But here's the good news: we can fight back. Fighting back is doing what Governor Newsom is still doing. So demand accountability, support progressive causes that will make people think, or make Americans see the value of their money. So till next time, don't forget to subscribe, share this video. Peace out.